Most of us trust our eyes completely. We operate under the assumption that the organ inside our skulls is essentially a high-end camera, a perfect recorder capturing a sharp, continuous feed of objective reality. But biologically speaking, that continuous feed is impossible. At the exact spot where your optic nerve connects to your retina, there are 0 light receptors. You walk around every day with a blind spot roughly the size of a coin permanently fixed in your field of view. You don't walk around seeing 2 dark voids floating in the air because your visual cortex hates missing data. It quickly analyzes the textures and colors around that blind spot, makes a highly educated guess, and seamlessly pastes over the whole. Have you ever glanced at a wall clock and felt like the second hand paused for just a fraction too long? Like that initial tick hangs in the air before the clock resumes its normal rhythm. This is a glitch called chronostasis. When your eyes dart from your phone to the wall, they don't pan smoothly, they snap rapidly. If your optic nerve transmitted that raw data, you would experience severe motion sickness dozens of times a day. To protect you, your system simply cuts out the blurred footage, leaving a blink gap in time. To prevent you from noticing that the cameras were off, it grabs the first clear image of the clock and retroactively stretches it backward across the empty space on the timeline. It means you are living a fraction of a second in the past. Your view of the world is a heavily edited director's cut, stitched together moments after the fact. Every single day, your sensory organs pipe roughly 34 gigabytes of information straight into your skull. Processing all of that raw data at once would cause a total system crash. To keep you functioning, your mind relies on strict mental shortcuts, known as heuristics, to filter the noise. The trade-off is that these shortcuts create massive, exploitable blind spots. When you encounter information that agrees with your existing beliefs, you receive a validating hit of dopamine. But when you face contradicting evidence, the nervous system often treats it as a literal physical threat, blinding you to the facts to protect your ego. Consider how a price tag changes based on what you saw first. A jacket for $500 feels expensive, but if a sign says 70% off and lists the price at $150, the math changes in your head. The item isn't objectively worth that price to you, but your perception is being manipulated by the first number you saw. When you first start learning a new skill, your confidence level usually outpaces your actual ability. With near zero knowledge, your brain lacks the necessary context to even realize what it doesn't know, creating a false peak where you feel like an expert. We tend to view these biases as failures in our intelligence. In reality, they're desperate, automatic filters trying to manage an overwhelming influx of information. There is a strict, hidden hierarchy to how we make decisions. The ancient emotional region, the amygdala, processes external stimuli in milliseconds. It reacts instantly to sudden noises or flashy ads with base desires, survival, fight, or immediate gratification. The prefrontal cortex, your logical, modern center, kicks in moments later, but it rarely overrides that initial emotional impulse. Instead, it acts like a corrupt lawyer, fabricating rational justifications for the poor decisions your emotional hardware has already made. This tendency to rewrite facts extends deep into your long-term storage. Most people treat memory like a secure video library. You pull an old tape off the shelf, play it, and watch the events exactly as they unfolded. The truth is, memory behaves a lot more like a continuously edited Wikipedia page. In a landmark study, psychologist Elizabeth Loftus successfully implanted completely fabricated childhood memories into healthy adults. By repeatedly asking participants about a time they got lost in a shopping mall as a child, an event that never occurred, and dropping fake hints, the subjects eventually absorbed the narrative. Within weeks, the adults were generating their own sensory details about the fake event. Every time you recall an event, you don't retrieve the original file. You pull up the last edited version. If a fake detail is suggested, your system effortlessly weaves it into the story. Because both parties in an argument are relying on these independently edited files, being certain about the exact details of the past is often a statistical impossibility. If our perception is this unreliable, it raises a question. Why would evolution select for an organ that distorts the host's reality? Because an accurate brain is a slow brain. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, if an early human heard the bushes rustling in the dark, they had to choose a survival path. Assuming it was a deadly predator and sprinting away was a fast, paranoid, and highly inaccurate reaction. But the ancestors who sat down to analyze the wind speed and wait for perfect data were eaten. Your mind would much rather be completely wrong and physically safe than logically accurate and dead. We are the descendants of the paranoid, shortcut-taking survivors. Overriding these automatic responses requires intentional friction. A mandatory 24-hour delay on major decisions gives the prefrontal cortex enough time to catch up to an emotional hijack. You can also actively seek out disconfirming evidence to stress test your ideas instead of hunting for validation. For critical realizations, the most reliable tool is a physical record. Writing things down creates a snapshot that is immune to the subtle, ongoing edits of your internal Wikipedia page. Your mind is a masterful illusionist, painting a picture designed strictly to keep you alive. True intellectual growth happens when you find the humility to step back, look at the picture, and question the person telling the story.